Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to another video about my 2-level ACDF fusion. I am now 3 months post-op. I had the neurosurgeon follow-up today regarding the surgery. He wanted to see how I was doing. It was very, very quick. I mean, it was probably only 5 minutes long, to be honest with you. I went to the office there and I knew I only didn't have as many questions as I did last time. But I still have concerns with things. I'm going to read to you the list of questions because I haven't written down here that I asked them. So I have been going to physical therapy. I went to the same physical therapy place that I went to last year. It's been slightly helpful, a little bit more. I'll tell you some of the symptoms that I'm still experiencing today that are there. But I'll tell you exactly what I've been doing for physical therapy. So I come into physical therapy. They put heat on my neck. Sometimes they have me sit up and put the heat on my neck. Sometimes they have me lie down. They put the heat on my neck, whatever it is. Then they get me started on the arm bike. So the arm bike's kind of like this, and then backwards as well. The first couple days during the first week were a little rougher. I was feeling a little weak, but after that, I started feeling a little stronger and more secure with the arm bike. I didn't feel like, dizzy or faint or anything like that. So I think that was kind of good that I did that. They also have the stretchy bands. I have one somewhere around me. I should probably be doing them at home more. Stretchy bands are, just stretch them out this way, stretch them out this way, stretch them out this way, and then kind of go back like this. And then there are a couple other stretches as well that do with stretchy bands. But that one's been okay. It doesn't really help me too much. The one exercise that seems to help me the most is they have this big ball they put against the wall, and you can put your head against it, and you kind of like a manual resistance thing that they're doing, and you kind of just push a little bit more. But when I do that, and I'm doing that right now with my hand just to demonstrate a little bit more, sometimes on here I feel like things are just kind of popping back up, which is where it should be. And that's still been a problem right here. Right here has been a problem. And I pointed this out to them. He said, that's probably about C3 area. That's probably where you're still having a problem. And the way they described it to me at physical therapy was that you have a building. And that building, 4 structures of that building have been damaged. 2 of those structures and damaged, and now they were just kind of like this. And, just pretend the building's kind of wobbly and shaky because of the damage. 2 of those structures, two of those parts of the building, 2 of those floors of the building have been completely fixed. What happens to the other 2 above? They are not. They're still going to be wobbly. They're still going to be bad. So what's happening is that's still happening, kind of. And you could kind of call it a little bit of a bobblehead syndrome a little bit more. But what's happened now is that it could potentially be breaking down things a little bit more. So I'm still having that. I'll give you the symptoms that I'm having. So when I have that, every once in a while, the pain comes from up here and goes into the back of the head right over here too. Actually, on both sides of the back of the head right here. So it does come, sometimes it happens on this side. Not as frequent on this side as it is on this side. It's always been on this side. One of the things that they suggested to me was it's a possibility that you might have a disc that's fragmented in your neck and no one's been able to catch it on these MRIs. See what you can do about getting an updated MRI. So as you see, I'm wearing a bone growth stimulator. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Probably should be a little bit more like that. I know I'm looking at it, but that's okay. So they and then they had me do a little bit more exercises, like kind of like a Superman exercise on the floor, and kind of these a little bit, the chink tucks a little bit more while I'm on the floor as well, just to try to get things back into place and whatnot. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about that. That's one of the symptoms I'm having, and every once in a while when the pain does happen here, it also goes into my jaw. So there's clearly a problem up here that's still happening. I brought this up to the neurosurgeon today as well, and I'm going to tell you what he said to me. So that's part of the problems. Also, the other thing is that, when I walked into physical therapy, my grip strength, I think it was like 80 pounds of pressure on the left and 60 pounds of pressure on the right. So my right was definitely weaker than the left. Clearly not problem then. And that's noted up here, what we're seeing. So after physical therapy was done for these past 6 weeks or whatever, it's been 5-6 weeks, whatever, 85 pounds. So I gained 5 pounds of strength in here and 20 pounds up here. So there's also 20 pounds. So sorry, 20 pounds, 80 pounds up here. So it's a 20-pound extra that's actually happened up here on my right side. So now I have 85 and 80 on here. Not even, but better on the right side. at least for my grip strength. However, I still have weakness in the arm that is still happening. And I do have numbness in the hands as well, or at least one hand, my right hand, only my right hand. Not real too much pain going on back here, but it comes and goes every once in a while. And my right leg is also a little bit weaker. So, you know, I brought this up to the neurosurgeon as well. So that's the other thing with that. And then, you know, they were one of the things that's happened a couple times is that, you know, I've done my own, you know, own stuff here. So kind of just lifting my head up a little bit more just to try to put things back into place. I'll do that when I'm lying down, when it feels better like that, because it feels like sometimes my head's a little too far forward, and especially when I'm sitting at work, because I have a lot of stress at work right now and I sit down a lot, and maybe a lot more than I should be. Yeah, I'll do this as well. Never was really put in a neck brace. Maybe I should have been, but that's okay. So yeah, I'll do that, or sometimes I'll hold it a little bit more like that and whatnot. My range of motion is pretty good. I think there's been no problem with my range of motion, to be honest with you. That's been pretty good. Pain level over here, from here down, has been 0, where the surgery was from here down. You could probably see, or maybe you can't even see, you can see my scar just maybe a little bit here. So it's been 0. Pain up here has shot as high as an 8, maybe. One of the things that happened during, so I've had stuff pop into place, and then when it happened, strength returned, boom, 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 in my arm and leg. So that's happened when it's popped back into place. As a matter of fact, when I just did that, I just felt the pain go into the jaw again. So just now, and I feel it a little bit up here too. So clearly there's a problem still. There's still a problem. Okay. There's been one time where they have been kind of, you know, not adjusting me, but maybe kind of stretching out my neck a little bit with the muscles and whatnot of physical therapy. And the one time the one physical therapist did it, he you know, kind of was going like this and like that, and he stretched me out pretty good on this side, and then he just felt everything just start like cracking and popping in there, and he goes, "Whoa!" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's pretty bad." He goes, "That's honestly pretty bad." He goes, "Those are vertebrae trying to go back into place." And I go, "Yeah." And I go, "But unfortunately, they're not staying in place. They're not staying in place." And I go, "What can we do?" He goes, "That's going to be kind of difficult with the, you know, with the surgery, because once they're out of place on top, you know, you're looking at potential future surgery to try to correct that." He goes, "But we can try. We can see if we can get the muscles to keep it into place." So the physical therapist has described it as best as possible. So I went to the surgeon today for my 3-month post-op. One of the questions that I asked was about physical therapy. I explained to him everything I'd done at physical therapy. I asked, you know, one of the physical therapists asked, "Can I start doing manually resistance exercises out of neutral? Because all I'm doing is just kind of just pushing my head again. So can I start going like this? Can I start bending my head a little bit more? Can I start bending my head?" And he showed me, and can I start going like this a little bit more? Which I've been doing anyway, because it's been hurting up here so bad from that. And you know, I've been doing it myself anyway. And he said, "Yeah, I don't see why not." Cool. I asked him about when can I get an updated MRI to see what else is going on. It's almost been, you know, we're approaching close to a year now. Now I'm just 3 months post-op. My last MRI was in February. When can I get an updated MRI? Basically, he said, nope, not getting an MRI. He didn't even give me that option. He just basically said, nope, unless things are worse for you, which it doesn't sound like after what you told me of physical therapy, there's no need for an updated MRI. I think I need the updated MRI because I'm actually feeling worse up here. Now, down here, no, I'm not. I'm feeling great. Where he did surgery, great. I think and I don't know why this is a problem about getting an MRI. I don't know if it's an insurance thing. I don't know what it is yet. I'm going back to them in January. If he refuses to get me an MRI, then I need to, you know, after January, he's going to send me for an X-ray to check, you know, to check on the on a fusion. He did say, let me get to that in a minute. So I did explain to him about what was happening with the upper cervical, about how I can't keep my head up because it's like this. I need to constantly do this, but the pain goes in here. The pain radiates up into here. He says his muscle spasms, and sometimes when it spasms, it does that. I feel like it's bone on bone in there. Like I feel like the upper cervical has bone on bone inside of there. So that's actually been a problem for me right now, and I just feel like it's getting worse. And my fear is that hey, yes, when I looked at the x-ray, and you guys probably saw the x-ray on the last post-op, you saw the C3, C4 was just like this. And it's been a 7 year, we're approaching 7 years now, at least a known 7 year disc herniation that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and nothing's being done about it. Um, so I'm concerned about that. So I explained to him about all what's going on in there. I asked him, should I continue on with PT? He said, yes, here's another script. Continue on with PT. If you need extra PT after this, 4 to 6 weeks is done again, call us up. We'll send you another script. I'm going to keep going through it because I want to keep going through it and say, and if it doesn't help, I will tell him it doesn't help. And I will tell him things are still feeling worse and they're not really progressing the way I want them to. He did say to try to keep optimistic that PT will help this out. He says a lot. This is very common that you have muscle spasms. Now, I don't feel any muscle spasms. That's the thing. I feel no muscle spasms. I'm on no medication whatsoever. I've never have been. I have a very high tolerance for pain when it comes down to it. So when I know something's wrong, something is wrong. It feels like things are cracking and crumbling away up here, and that's what it feels like. And it shouldn't feel like that. And I'm like, okay, something's definitely wrong there. And it's been progressing over and over and over again. But he did say continue on PT. He wants us to do that. I asked him about the bone growth stimulator. Here's an interesting one. Should I continue to use a bone growth stimulator? He came back and said, usually I tell my patients after 3 months that they don't have to because it's already done its job at that point. And then we can see the fusion. But it's he said you get an updated X-ray at my next 6-month appointment, which could potentially be my last appointment with him because he may release me after that. He says there's a chance you may not see fusion on it. He goes, but it won't matter whatsoever because you have everything keeping you in place there anyway. So he says sometimes the X-rays don't even catch a fusion on there. But he says typically, he tells his patients after 3 months, don't use it anymore. That's it. He goes, but it's up to you. You can use it. And if you're going to use it, I would suggest using it until, maybe the next appointment. It's really up to you. He goes, but you don't have to at this point. It's really up to you. So I'm choosing to use this for now. Just this way it gets the extra fusion in there in case there needs to be extra fusion. He said, it's not a doctor order. It's basically up to me at this point. And I think after the 6-month mark is fine. When I got this thing ordered, when the girl came over here, she had told me that usually people use this for 6 to 9 months. And I was very surprised that he told me 3 months at this point. So, okay. So I did ask, when you could look with X to determine if I'm fusing or not. Basically, he suggested we can send me the X-ray on there. I asked him if there's anything specifically I should be avoiding or doing at PT. And he said basically everything that you're doing now is what you need to continue doing. At this point, he didn't say anything should be necessarily avoided. He didn't give me any restrictions. He didn't lift any restrictions. I didn't even talk about him about that. He didn't lift any restrictions. So I got to look to see what restrictions are typically lifted at this point. I might call him back just to understand, but he didn't say there's any lifting restrictions at this point. He did say that, if you're still having a problem driving, which I am, mainly that problems are coming at night because my vision's been affected by whatever's happening here. And I'm having a harder time seeing at night, and it feels like my neck's being crushed on the top again. Just my skull's coming down. It feels like on my neck, and it's being crushed, and it's a very hard time driving. And especially when I come to a stop, it's like poof, it's like everything's just like horrible at that point. So I keep looking up because I'm just kind of looking at things. Really at this point, I asked, if things are worse, what do we do at this point? Let's say I come in January and tell you things are worse. He said, well, try to remain optimistic that physical therapy is going to help you. Right now, we're not sending you for another MRI. I don't plan to send you for another MRI anytime soon because you seem to be doing okay. He said, driving wise, try to stay within 5 miles for now. Try not to drive too far or do anything too crazy right now driving, because if you're still having a problem with that, then don't overdo yourself, and don't overdo yourself personally as well. I asked him if another surgery, if an MRI does show worse and another surgery is needed. One thing that he said was an extension of the fusion. And I know people that have had artificial discs on top of fusions, and ask, what is the deal with that? Why would we go ahead and do an extension of a fusion instead of saying an artificial disc? And he said, well, the artificial discs, the hybrid surgery is not approved from the FDA. He just left it at that. And I'm like, okay, I said, now I know people that have had artificial disc on top of fusions. How come they were able to get it if it's not approved by FDA? And his comment to me was they paid for it. They paid for it out of pocket, um, which means to tell me that this is a insurance guided. This is all insurance guided at this point, and it kind of sucks because I think the insurance is really dictating what he can tell me and what he can do with this. Um, so he's not sending me for another MRI. I didn't look at my insurance to determine how many MRIs I can get per year. If it's the case that he can't send me for another MRI because I'm only allowed to have one MRI per year at this point, then I need to really push for him to get another MRI in January. I'm going to flat out ask him, can you please send me for another MRI? I know you don't want to. However, I want to go for the MRI. I hate MRI machines, first of all, but I really do want to see what is still wrong, if there is still something wrong at that point. I really don't want there to be anything wrong. Clearly, I would have preferred for him to say, I'm released from your care today, especially if I had no other problems, but I still have problems. So I still have to be aware of this. I'm going to continue on physical therapy. I think that's really all I covered with him today. It was like I said, very short appointment with him. I think I might have missed a couple things that I didn't meant to ask him about, but that's fine. Yeah, so I just want to give you guys a heads up. It's where I am. Are things better? Now, this is a question that's been asked of me a lot. Are things better than where I was, say, this time last year? Yes, I will give you that a yes. They are better. My spinal cord, I do not feel is being compressed. I actually had a lot of blood tests done just to make sure nothing crazy happened in the hospital. I'm perfectly fine, normal. Nothing's out of the ordinary for me in general. So that's good. That means the hospital was clean so far. Nothing's been found or anything like that. Am I better than what I was this time last year? Yeah, I think so. There's been good changes that have happened. The spinal cord compression obviously was still going on. Do I still think there's more that needs to be done? Yes, unfortunately. Though I don't know what that is yet or how that is. My big concern is that, yes, that C3-C4 issue that I've been having, and I'm pointing to where I'm having a problem to here, but I actually think there might be more to it too, and I'm worried about the C2-3 because when I'm looking at my x-ray, it kind of protruded a little bit forward, so maybe I need to try to work on trying to get that back. So I'm going to bring this up to physical therapy. I'm going to say, look, I know we did a lot of things to try to gain strength back in the arms and the hands. That's been helpful. It's been very helpful. We can continue on with that to see where that goes. However, I think we need to focus on getting the correct posture back and trying to see what we can do about having a disc, go back and potentially try to heal itself. Do I want another surgery? No, of course not. I don't want another surgery. I would prefer not to have another surgery. I know he would prefer not to do another surgery himself. He flat out told me at the last appointment he hates doing these surgeries. He doesn't want to do another surgery. But again, it's up to what happens now between now and then. Do I need to focus a little bit more on this? Probably more on my neck. Yeah, I would say so until it feels a little bit better. But there's still pain. There's still neck pain, and it's unfortunate. Am I stronger than I was this time last year? Yeah, absolutely. I would say so. And when I was stronger than what I was in March of earlier this year or February, yeah, absolutely. I really thought I was running into a situation where I just was so weak I couldn't even walk. Like things just was. I felt like I was in collapse some days when I went for my walks. I have been walking daily. That has helped. Probably just go for a walk actually right after this video. That has helped tremendously. I think walking really relieves a lot of stress and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think I missed anything. So let's see where we are at the 6-month mark. I still think there's a lot of problems that are happening. I'm clearly sometimes when I'm driving, if I do this or I'm sitting down and I look up. Right now, this part's okay, but when I was driving this earlier today, I felt the pain up here again, and I don't want to say dizzy because dizzy means everything's spinning around, right? But like things were getting like blurry around me when I was doing that. So that just tells me that, and I felt a little off, and that's the problem. So that's where the problems are right now. Maybe between now and January, something happens that I can address this. Maybe if I do more corrective exercises, that happens. I do feel like this is higher. I feel like this part of the neck, you see these two parts of the neck here? So I feel like this is like kind of in place, but this is out of place. And this is where I start feeling the most, right here. So sometimes I grab the towel too, or I pulled my neck up with the towel. That's actually helped me. Let me leave it at that for now. I'm going to give you guys an update after the 6-month post-op to see where I'm at, to tell you what he says, what he wants me to do. I'll share the latest x-ray with it as well. Hopefully, I have an idea. If he releases me from the care, unfortunately, I'm either going to have to keep asking him to come back because I'm continuing to have a problem, or, and this is the one thing I don't want to do because I don't feel like going through this whole process again, or I have to look for another surgeon to actually take care of this and address this. I know maybe it's not as bad as some people have, but when you're affected and you're having a hard time sitting down and you can't do some of the things that you have on a day-to-day basis because of it, yes, it becomes a problem. I don't want to look for another surgeon. I would prefer not to. But I guess, if he does release me from the care and that's what I need to do, I could either go to someone else in his group, which would kind of suck to do, because I don't want to go around him like that, because I actually like him, and I think he's done a fantastic job with everything down here so far. Or I find another surgeon somewhere else within the area that's going to look at this and say, wow, yeah, this is pretty messed up, and here's your MRI. Or if I need the MRI, I can go to maybe another doctor of some sort that's going to send me to an MRI. And then I can bring it back to him and say, look, I had to go through this. You refused to do this. I needed to do this because nothing's working. I'm still feeling crappy. And here's what we have so far. Maybe he just focused on spinal cord compression and that's it. And he's not focused on herniated discs. That could possibly be. Maybe the insurance won't let him do anything until it shows something's worse. How do we know something's worse, though, unless we go to an MRI? We need to go to the MRI, right? That's where I'm at. So, yeah, I'm leaving it at this, guys. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Hoping that maybe I have a better update for you as to how I'm feeling 6 months now. The winter time's coming along. I feel better usually in the winter than I do in the summer, so I'm happy. I'm happy that it's starting to get a little colder. I do love the sun and the summer as well. The biggest problem now is that it starts getting darker earlier. So for me, I'm just kind of staying home all the time. Staying home all the time is not a bad thing, but it just definitely needs something that needs to okay, now I really want to start going out, so people can understand. I have been out every once in a while. One of the things I attended was a Oktoberfest gathering that my friends had with a few people. With this COVID thing, they limited the number of people there. We had a Stein hoisting contest, and I actually, out of I think 10 people, I came in third. Holding it like this was a little challenging for me, but it actually, with the surgery that I had, I was actually able to hold it. I pushed my limitation on that. I don't want to tell him that, but it's something I did. So I wanted to just point that out there. Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that. And, hopefully within these next few months, I have more information or things to share with you guys. And maybe something does happen with the physical therapy I'm going to be going through. The only thing that sucks about physical therapy is it costs money out of my own pocket because of the actual, copays, because they actually do copays. So right now I'm in the, I'm in the spot where I'm like, I'm not going to be paying to pay copays until I start getting bills. So that's it. So they don't ask for money right up front. So, okay. Anyway, regardless, that's that for now. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section down below, and I will answer whatever I can, whatever you ask, I'll answer that I know about. It's been kind of challenging time this year, definitely. You can reach out to me personally too if you want to. That's fine too. You can send me a message if I post this on Facebook. You can send me a message on Facebook. You can send me a message on wherever. Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram too, you can send me a message there. You can send me a message on my Gmail account or YouTube account here as well. So, hope you guys are doing okay. Hope everyone's safe, healthy, and happy. And I will talk with you guys soon, and hopefully I'll be better update you guys in a few months. All good. Take care, everyone.